And moving on tonight, the coronavirus certainly disrupting how business is getting done. Individuals are being stuck in quarantine for up to 2 weeks. Some businesses are allowing their employees to work from home when possible. Now, it's not new to everyone, but it is to most. According to U.S. Census data, 4.7 million Americans work at home at least half the time. It's a big number, but it's only 3.4% of the total workforce. Now, that number expected to surge, at least temporarily, and it can be a big change for employers and employees. So what should both be thinking about now? I asked Adam Cannavo from Groove Management. We're doing this via video conferencing, something a lot of folks at home are probably going to have to start getting used to as more people have to stay out of the office. But this isn't something you just sort of go into willy-nilly. It does take some planning.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I think that's maybe why we haven't seen more of it yet. You're hearing in the news about a lot of big companies that are having everyone start working from home. And I think that they have the resources that they can plan things and put it together a lot faster. But I think right now there's probably a lot of other businesses that are trying to put together plans. You know, it's not something that you can just flip a switch and do in a lot of cases. You have to make sure that people have the resources like a laptop or a computer that they can use at home. Not every job has cell phones, so making sure that you forward calls. And then there's a variety of IT and HR issues that require a lot of forethought.
We came across a couple of articles that offer really some good advice for both employers and employees when it comes to working from home. And I want to just kind of go through those for our viewers at home so they can understand this as well. I want to start with employers. The Harvard Business Review lays out 3 strategies for them. And number 1 is spelling out goals and roles. What do they mean by that?
Yeah, well, I think that when we come into an office every day, most people know what they're expected to do, and they know what their role is. They know what the goal of the team is in the business. But in these circumstances, it can feel like a lot of things are changing pretty rapidly. And when you're starting to work from home, all of a sudden, it's important to, take another look at what are our business priorities right now and what should we all be focusing on. And then individually, if you're a manager and you've got a team that's now working from home, making sure that you're touching base with them and making sure that everybody understands what their role is.
Number 2 on the list was emphasize personal interactions. This is interesting.
Yeah, from an employer standpoint, I think that we take for granted that people come into an office every day and they see each other. You interact with people all day, and you really do. You sort of take it for granted. And now that everyone's working from home, you can fall into a situation where it's sort of out of sight, out of mind, and you don't want that to happen. So I think that the prevailing recommendation is to actually increase meetings. That's something that, a lot of organizations have been trying to get away from. But I think in these circumstances, increasing meetings and doing it with rich media, like, we're doing a video chat. I think that that's probably the next best thing to an in-person meeting.
And humanize that conversation, too. It can't just all be about work because, we can sit around the water cooler from time to time, right, and have other conversations. And if we start missing out on that, that can affect people as well.
Yeah, and you have to take into consideration that this is going to be a little bit stressful for everybody, and there's an adjustment period that we're all going to be going through. So the important thing, I think, is that we're all in it together, and just sort of recognizing that and having a conversation about some of the odd circumstances that we're in. I'm talking to you from my kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of leads us into number 3, which is normalizing new work environments. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I did lead into it. I think at least for the first week or initially, if people are comfortable and you're doing if you're having video conferencing, let people, provide a tour of their home office. It could be a fun way to sort of break the ice and try to keep things a little bit interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm here in my kitchen. Nothing exciting, but we're all adapted.
That is just part 1 of our conversation. We're going to have part 2 of that conversation tomorrow. We're going to focus in on employees, what they need to do to adjust to working from home.